A 65-year-old British tourist lies in a hospital bed, with his face covered in blood and his head split open by knife wounds. Just a few hours earlier, he thought he was meeting two attractive women at his luxury condominium. Instead, four transgender individuals burst in, demanding 40,000 baht. When he refused to pay this amount for services he had never ordered, they pulled out a knife and left him bleeding, fighting for his life. This is not an isolated incident. This is the reality of Pattaya in 2025. Just 8 days before this brutal knife attack, another horrifying incident shocked Pattaya. 25-year-old Suresh, an Indian tourist, was beaten unconscious on Pattaya Beach at 3 a.m. with high-heeled shoes. The attack began when Suresh asked to verify his companion's gender through physical contact, a request that triggered explosive violence. The transgender woman removed her stiletto heel and struck Suresh repeatedly on the head, opening bleeding wounds across his skull as witnesses screamed in horror. The most disturbing part? After both parties arrived at Pattaya police station, the attacker simply asked to use the restroom and escaped through the back door while her victim bled in the station lobby. 3 weeks earlier, 36-year-old Zhang, a Chinese businessman, made the fatal mistake of trusting someone enough to shower in their presence. While Zhang relaxed under hot water in his hotel room, his companion systematically looted his belongings. 20,000 baht in cash vanished from his wallet, along with credit cards and jewelry intended as family gifts. When Zhang emerged from the bathroom, his room was empty and his life savings gone. These aren't random crimes. They represent a dangerous pattern that every tourist needs to understand before making that fateful decision to invite a stranger into their hotel room or condominium. The statistics paint a terrifying picture. In just 3 months, from July to September 2025, Pattaya police documented over 15 separate violent incidents involving transgender sex workers and foreign tourists. That's one attack every 6 days. Medical experts warn that these hormonal treatments can lead to sudden mood swings, increased aggression, and impaired judgment. When financial desperation meets chemical imbalance, the results can be explosive. The recent surge in knife attacks isn't coincidental. It reflects individuals who may not be in full control of their actions, making every encounter potentially life-threatening. The pattern of these encounters follows a disturbingly predictable sequence. A tourist strolls down Beach Road, Walking Street, or Soi 6, taking in the vibrant nightlife atmosphere. They strike up a conversation with an attractive freelancer. The interaction feels natural, friendly, and business-oriented. Terms are discussed, service arrangements are made, and everything appears perfectly professional and legitimate. However, the moment the door closes and privacy is established, the entire dynamic undergoes a shocking transformation. What began as a friendly business transaction suddenly reveals its true nature. The person who seemed charming and agreeable moments earlier becomes demanding, aggressive, and potentially dangerous. The tourist realizes too late that they've invited a complete stranger into their most vulnerable space, with no witnesses and no easy escape route. This psychological shift from public charm to private menace represents the core danger that catches so many visitors off guard in Pattaya's complex social landscape. Police Lieutenant Manasak Poliem, who investigated the British tourist attack, reveals the typical escalation. First comes the demand for additional money, often 10 times the originally agreed amount. When tourists refuse these extortionate fees, threats begin. If the victim remains firm, weapons appear. Knives, broken bottles, high-heeled shoes, mobile phones, anything becomes a potential weapon in desperate hands. The shower theft phenomenon has become particularly widespread in Pattaya hotels, targeting tourists at their most vulnerable moments. 60-year-old disabled British man Chris Glennon discovered this brutal reality when he arranged to meet two female freelancers at his hotel room on July 17th. But instead, 3 individuals arrived, including a transgender person who would later participate in the coordinated robbery. Despite the unexpected change in numbers, Glennon allowed all three into his private space, and when he decided to freshen up with a shower, they systematically looted his belongings while he stood vulnerable and naked under the water, stealing 12,500 baht in cash along with personal valuables before vanishing completely, leaving him to discover his empty room and missing life savings. Security cameras throughout Pattaya hotels regularly capture these crimes, yet prosecution rates remain disappointingly low. Many victims feel too embarrassed to file complete police reports, while others fear retaliation or simply want to end their nightmare vacation and return home. This silence only encourages more attacks. The organized nature of these crimes is particularly disturbing. Police investigations reveal networks of individuals who share information about vulnerable targets, optimal timing for thefts, and escape routes from hotels and condominiums. Some groups specifically target elderly or disabled tourists, viewing them as easy prey unlikely to fight back or pursue justice. Consider the American tourist attack near Soi 6 on July 15th. Two transgender individuals approached him aggressively, began unwanted physical contact, stole 3,000 baht from his pocket, and when he protested, struck him on the head before disappearing into the crowded streets. He reported feeling completely helpless and terrified, exactly the psychological state these criminals seek to create. Financial costs extend far beyond stolen cash. Medical bills for knife wounds, head injuries, and psychological trauma can reach hundreds of thousands of baht. Hotel damage deposits, early flight changes, extended hospital stays, and legal fees quickly accumulate. One American victim spent over 200,000 baht on medical treatment alone after a seemingly simple encounter turned violent. But money represents only part of the true cost. The psychological damage often proves more devastating than physical injuries. Victims report persistent anxiety, trust issues, and recurring nightmares. Many develop severe phobias about traveling alone or interacting with strangers. Some require months of therapy to recover from what they initially expected to be a pleasurable evening. The legal system offers little comfort for victims. Thai police face challenges investigating crimes involving tourists who speak limited English, have incomplete documentation, and may have been engaging in technically illegal activities. Even when arrests occur, prosecutions can take years, requiring multiple expensive trips back to Thailand for court appearances. Language barriers complicate every aspect of these situations. When violence erupts, victims cannot effectively communicate with police, medical personnel, or hotel staff. Emergency situations become even more terrifying when you cannot explain what happened or request specific help. Many attackers exploit this communication gap, knowing their victims cannot easily identify them or provide detailed descriptions to authorities. The reputation damage to Thailand's tourism industry has prompted increased police patrols and enhanced security measures. However, these improvements primarily focus on public areas, not private hotel rooms and condominiums where most attacks occur. Once that door closes behind you and your companion, you become completely isolated and vulnerable. Hotel security staff, despite good intentions, often cannot intervene quickly enough when situations turn violent. Private condominium security is frequently minimal or non-existent. Even hotels with security cameras in hallways and lobbies cannot guarantee safety once criminals enter guest rooms under seemingly legitimate circumstances, as private rooms remain outside surveillance coverage for privacy reasons. Many tourists arrive in Pattaya with unrealistic expectations about safety, legality, and social norms. They assume that Thailand's reputation for hospitality extends to all interactions, failing to recognize the desperation and criminal intent that drives some individuals in tourist-dependent economies. The medical risks go beyond visible injuries. Meeting strangers for intimate encounters carries risks of sexually transmitted infections like HIV, hepatitis, and other diseases. When violence occurs, these dangers increase through blood contact from open wounds and contaminated weapons. Emergency medical treatment for exposure is costly, requires immediate attention, and can have serious side effects. Consider the broader implications for your life back home. Criminal victimization abroad can affect employment, especially for individuals in positions of trust. Insurance claims may be denied if illegal activities are suspected. Many victims face relationship difficulties when spouses learn about the circumstances surrounding their attacks, potentially leading to marriage breakdown and divorce proceedings that destroy families permanently. Recovery from these traumatic experiences often requires extensive support systems that many tourists lack while abroad. Isolation in foreign hospitals, dealing with insurance companies from different time zones, and managing family concerns from thousands of miles away compound the stress of physical recovery. Many victims report feeling completely abandoned and helpless during their most vulnerable moments. The seasonal patterns of these crimes reveal their calculated nature. Attacks spike during peak tourist seasons, when criminals have more potential victims, and police resources are stretched thin. Holiday periods, when tourists carry more cash and valuables, see corresponding increases in violent robberies. This isn't random violence, it's systematic predation on vulnerable visitors. Understanding these realities doesn't mean avoiding Thailand or living in constant fear. It means making informed decisions about personal safety. The difference between a memorable vacation and a life-changing trauma often comes down to one choice: whether to invite a stranger into your private space where help cannot quickly reach you. Ask yourself, is 1 or 2 hours of companionship worth potentially months of medical treatment, legal proceedings, and psychological recovery? Is saving a few $100s on professional services worth risking thousands in medical bills and trauma? Can you afford to become another statistic in Pattaya's growing catalogue of tourist victimization? The victims featured in this content all made the same decision you might be considering right now. They all believed they were smart enough, strong enough, or lucky enough to avoid becoming crime statistics. They all discovered too late that criminals don't discriminate based on intelligence, physical fitness, or good intentions. They target anyone who provides opportunity, regardless of personal characteristics. Before you make that choice, remember Duncan Kirkwood lying in his hospital bed with knife wounds across his skull. Remember Suresh unconscious on Pattaya Beach, beaten by high-heeled shoes. Remember Jang discovering his life savings stolen while he trusted someone enough to shower in their presence. Remember that your decision in the next few moments could determine whether you return home with pleasant memories or life-altering trauma. The choice is yours, but now you know the real cost of that choice. If you enjoy my Thailand stories, you can support me with a coffee. Just follow the link in the description or scan the QR code. The choice is yours, but now you know the real cost of that choice. Have you or someone you know ever experienced a dangerous situation like this while traveling? Share your stories in the comments below. Your experience could help protect other travelers from similar dangers. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden risks that travel guides don't warn you about, please hit that like button and share it with anyone planning to visit Pattaya or similar destinations. Your support helps us create more life-saving safety awareness content. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest investigations into tourist dangers around the world. We regularly expose the dark side of popular vacation spots that mainstream media won't touch.